Hey guys, Stella Williams here, and in this impromptu story time slash rant, I'm gonna be answering the question: have you ever woken up angry all over again about a book you read years ago? And this is a question I posed on Twitter because the other day, that's exactly what happened to me. I woke up pissed off about a book I read way back in 2012. I'll try to make this brief because it is more of a rant than necessarily a story time about this book that devastated me in a really bad time. But basically, I was deployed to Afghanistan. Yes, I am an Army vet. Um, and on my downtime, um, which I worked 12 on, 12 off. So you would think that I would have a lot more free time, but really it wasn't like that at all. But when I did catch a few minutes or a couple, 1 or 2 hours to myself, reading was one of the ways I entertained myself since um, internet and that sort of thing wasn't always available. So that was when I was really, really getting into paranormal romance. At that time, I had only really read J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and I think some of the Anita Blakes by then. And then one of my sisters found Carolyn Sparks' Love at Stake series. And as you know, I share my library with my sisters, so anything they were reading, I was reading. And we've all kind of enjoyed the Love at Stake series. It was one of the first paranormal romance series that we were reading with a black character. And even though he was problematic in being, the love doctor and, you know, being the spokesperson for alcohol and basically stuff that now makes me cringe hardcore, but back then was just like, oh, at least there's a black guy. But see, to the point, the book that really, really sucked for me was Wanted, Undead, or Alive by Carolyn Sparks in her Love at Stake series. It was the 12th book in the series. I had read all 11 books at that point before it, and I had been really excited to get this one in the mail. If you could mail stock in while deployed, that was pretty much what I did. When this book was being shipped to me. So I was really excited to get it. And thankfully, right when I got it, it was one of my downtimes. So I cracked it open and started reading right away. And then in that first chapter, crushed my soul because it was so stereotypical and racist, basically. It was a scene where the main character, the black vampire, Phineas McKinney, is talking to his brother Fremont, and his brother Fremont just found out that he's not dead but is alive and is a vampire. And Fremont makes the comment, if I was a vampire, I'd miss fried chicken and waffles. Really? Fried chicken and waffles. Now, I didn't immediately stop reading there. I probably should have. I did finish this book, by the way. I forced myself to continue reading it because I had paid for it and I had waited months for this book, and I was just like, it has to get better. It has to get better. It has to get better. And then it just never did. But yeah, no, that's a direct quote from the book. If I was a vampire, I'd miss fried chicken and waffles. And this scene, you can totally check it out yourself. I'll link the link to Carolyn Sparks' own website where she has the excerpt of the book, and can tell everything that's wrong about this book just from the excerpt that's up there. And like I said, this book came out in 2012, and weren't so big on the call out culture back then. Um, so I might just be bringing up old stuff for other people who felt the same way as I did about this book. And I am in no way trying to start drama. It was just something that was really bugging me, and I felt like I needed to vent and share about it. But anyway, so I read the book. I hated it. I was like, what is this? It's super racist. I even like did the whole maybe I'm overreacting thing, and I had one of my Southern white sergeants read the sections, and I was like, maybe, she's just playing on, the whole Southern fried chicken thing, even though they're not from the South. And even he was like, no, this is racist. And I was like, ah. So I was like super upset. I was gonna throw it over a wall, the barriers, like the actual wall dividing like us soldiers from the rest of Afghanistan. And he was like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, dang it. And he was like, but we can burn it. So that's my story time, y'all. The first time I ever burned a book. And also the last time. I'm pretty sure I haven't burned any books since then. But I took express glee in burning this racist piece of trash because it wasn't even a good book. Like, it's like, like I struggled with reading it. There's so many stereotypes and tropes, and it was just awful. Um, what made it even worse was when I went online to see if I was the only person who felt this way. When I finally did get a chance to get online, all I saw were 5-star reviews from everybody, from Guilty Pleasure Books, from Long and Short reviews, from Guilty Indulgence Romance reviews, from Bitten by Books, Addicted to Romance. And it wasn't until, and I recently went back to check to see if the book was even still available or up. Uh, and finally somebody in 2015 wrote a review that summarizes why this book is so terrible in a very nice way. So I'm going to read that to you real quick, and then that'll be my spiel for the night. So this review says, I rarely find a bad book in the Love Estate series that I disliked. There are a few weak ones, but for the most part, they were still fun to read. This one I could not stand. It was repetitive, using the love doctrine thing over and over as derogatory terms to describe Phineas to himself and to Brinley got old fast. So did Snoutface, and so did all of the stereotypical references to being black, such as the shop that sold over-the-top clothes that were racially oriented, being a drug dealer on drugs, the language Fremont uses. It seems like Sparks took all the nonsense that stereotypes of race and used them in this book. The relationship between Brinley and Phineas held no sparks and seemed more forced than real. And by the way, this is an interracial romance, just to, double down on the racism in this book. Back to the reading. I did not enjoy this book, but I made myself finish it because I'm addicted to the series. Same here. I think this was a topic that Sparks was not comfortable with, and the advice she got did not help. Exactly. If she even got advice, had any sensitivity readers, I'm not even sure were a thing back then, but somebody should have caught that and been like, we can't do this. Even in 2012, they should have been like, we can't do this. So that's my story time. That's my rant. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way through. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.